Sorry, what would you mean when you say shame? I mean, again, from all of us who are listening into this conversation, what does that actually mean, or how does that feel for you?
Even in this day of age, it's a sad reality that I still have to struggle with at times, that if you are not what people consider the 100% functional person, who is always okay, always able to think at a level-headed manner, who is able to keep their emotions at bay. I think in a way we're expected to be empathetic. We're expected to have emotions to connect with others, but at the same time, we are not supposed to show those emotions. We are not supposed to show that brokenness. And I think when you are not able to find the middle ground to that, what people and what society expects to be acceptable, it comes with shame. I think that's the best way I could explain it.
Wow.
If I can just jump to add to that, I don't know if you experienced this, but I literally was told, nobody likes you when you're not happy. It's shot at you, told you stop showing it, stop being depressed, stop being that, because nobody likes you when you're like that. You don't want to be a burden. And I think that's a lot. Was that your experience? People saying, I think very Filipino, wag lang basagan ng trip. Don't ruin the vibe.
How do you show support? How did you show support or love to Nicole? I mean, I'm sure there are those who are watching here today are probably wondering, how did you do that? What kind of support, what kind of love can you show?
Let me just go back to that what Nicole mentioned. I think that's shame and guilt. There was guilt on her part that, again, because of her condition, that she mentioned that she's diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. And every time there would be, we call that an episode. So every time there will be an episode, it could be me or Van, my wife, her mom, would be, put in a place where there will be fights, chaos, and, just the situation at home.
Shrapnel.
Yeah.
You basically get hit with the emotional shrapnel. Because what happens when you have BPD is you explode. And that's why the people say it's likely CPTSD, because what happens when I have an episode is that I go back to this place.
Yes.
That isn't where I am right now.
Yeah.
It's the memory. There's this quote, I forgot what author said, the past isn't dead, it isn't even past. And that is very true for trauma, because the part of your brain that flares up when you have a dramatic flashback is not the part of your brain that's memory. It's the part of your brain, it's the amygdala. It's where you are right now. I am in that again. This feels exactly like that. And so your brain just desperately wants to be safe, and it's like a cornered animal.
Yeah.
It's lashing out because it wants to save you. And when you do that, you hit people you love, and it's
Well, again, my question. So go ahead.
Yes.
So were there triggers, especially when it seems like you go back to the past, that it just come out? Were there triggers before that happened?
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. Definitely.
You want to share yours?
Yeah.
You want to get that butter?
So whenever, and for parents, for caregivers, for those who have loved ones at home, the first thing that would be hit would be your identity as a parent. And that's hard. That's tough, because it's either will respond in anger, will be angry also, will respond in, when everything hits you, like insecurity, your identity is now being shaken also. So we respond in anger. So what helped us to give support to Nicole is to detach from that identity. It doesn't mean that she's having that condition. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're bad parents. Like what you said, if someone, like one of your children has asthma, it doesn't mean that you're a bad parent.
Yeah.
The same is true for mental health. But I'm sure we've made some mistakes. No one is a perfect parent, but definitely that whatever's causing it, doesn't mean that you are a bad parent. So having that like thought or that realization, at least for me and Van, it helped us to give her margin and space.
Yeah.
So when you say space, it doesn't mean that we're just letting her like, do whatever you want, lash out whenever you feel like, then we'll be okay. No, it's not that. If there's an episode, it means that maybe something triggers it. Then Van and I, we need to go back to we need to trace what happened.
Yeah.
What happened the past days? What's causing it? What are the stress factors? Again, when we talk about mental health, it's biological and environment. So what's in the environment that's maybe causing this? What can we control? What can we can't control? How can we, if Nicole is struggling maybe with a sense of being overwhelmed, which is most of the time, right?
Welcome to Anxiety 101.
Then we'll adjust some things at home to make it less overwhelming for Nicole. So it's giving space, giving margin. And I share a story? No.
Depends on the story, siguro.
One morning.
Or you wanna talk about it first?
I think no. One morning, I asked her. I'm sure you can remember this was just last week. I asked her. When is your exam? And I sensed that she's overwhelmed. And she answered me with one question, and I think you answered me with 10 answers, right? Or 5.
You just like kind of you do the info dump because like
yes, exactly.
triggers you to think about maybe I'm using trigger. I'm probably using trigger wrong.
Yeah.
Right, but like it snaps into your brain like
Yes.
it freaks you out. Like when is your exam? And you're just like, why are you reminding me? I have
Yes.
used all my energy to hold my brain together, and that you've spoiled it. It's done. Boom. It's everything I'm worried about.
Yeah, and she threw that at me.
Yeah.
So, what I did, I just
It's my mom's life.
I just give her space, went up, pray, go down, went down, and it's just like nothing happened. But
My mom throws a cat at me. Suggestion is have a pet. So if you have a pet and your person's having an anxiety, you just throw the animal at them. My mom does
As in
that.
literally? Throw that?
Like, yes, because it's a cat. Dogs don't because dogs can't land on their feet.
Yeah.
But cats you can throw.
so
funny.
we give her space,
Yeah.
basically. That's
Okay.
give her space, and if you and your spouse could work on some things to adjust at home, then that would really help a lot.
Yeah. For you, how did your mom help you?
Yeah, I was gonna get to that like ASAP. I think what I want to share with parents who are watching this, especially if the diagnosis. Actually, here's something I've learned. A lot of mental health diagnoses are rooted somewhere in trauma. It's just the nature of, and I don't want to over spiritualize, but I found that having a mental illness has really reinforced to me the fallen nature of humanity. Like, I get why God says, for all of sin and fall short of the glory of God. The fact that I am living with what I live with is living proof of this is what sin does. This is what sin does to you. It's not my sin either. It's somebody else's.
Yeah.
You know, it's stuff that people did to me that I did not choose. And as a parent, when you hear from your child or your child's psychiatrist or whatever, she has trauma, you go back and you're like, what did I do? And I know my mom went there. In fact, she jokes about it today. She's like, yeah, I'm the traumatizer and you're the traumatized. Better to be the traumatizer. She jokes like that but not because she's making light of it, but because, and this is such a powerful model for me. As parents, the first thing you do, you forgive yourself. Because you're not going to be perfect. You are going to screw up. That is why we have grace. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to hurt your kids. It doesn't distract from or detract from the fact that you love them. You're human. We hurt the people we love all the time. That's just the nature of humanity. And my mom, I know what she's done wrong. We actually have open discussions about how she's hurt me. But I will tell you right now, you give me a choice, change out your mom, erase all the mistakes. No. I want my mom. I want the mom I was given. With all the mistakes and all. Even if it would mean me not having this trauma, I'll have another trauma anyway. Right? So,
Wow.
My mom really, I think the biggest thing for her, she forgave herself. And she mirrored for me that when I would go around saying, I'm a monster, I'm a grenade, I was so scared of myself because my mom could live with the consequences of what she'd done and not condemn herself. I am capable of doing that. I mean, I haven't gotten there yet. There's still days I look in the mirror and I'm like, it's hard. It's scary. In particular, BPD affects your ability to have relationships. Not to overshare, but I'm 30 and single, and that scares the crap out of me because I want to have a family. I want to have kids. I want to have a husband, and there's always this fear that no one's ever gonna want to be with that. No one's ever gonna sign. Even friends, I'm afraid of abandonment. I'm deeply afraid that the people I have in my life are gonna walk out on me because of who I am.
Wow.
And my mom being able to just not be like that, being able to be like, you know what, people can walk out, or people can be affected and traumatized, and it doesn't detract from my worth because my worth comes from God, because she said that all the time. It helps me not be afraid. So I think that for me has been how she's helped me. By herself, like focusing on her healing. Right? I lash out at her, which I hate. Genuinely. Do not 10 out of 10 do not recommend you do that to your parents. If you have a mental, you try your best not to do that. But when I do, and I can feel myself blaming her for things, she doesn't accept it. She's like, no. Yes, I did that. It's not, but I am not a bad person for doing it. I made a mistake. I am not the mistake. And when she says that, I realize, yeah, same thing goes for me too. Same principle applies. I may make mistakes. I am not the mistake.
That's good. Thank you for sharing that.
And if I could just add to
Yeah.
that, honestly, going back to grace,
Mm.
I think that's also the very first thing that helped in my process of healing. I would say that I have come to a very, night and day compared to how I was 3 to 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I could really just give thanks to God. And it's because of grace.
Wow.
When I saw that my parents were able to give themselves grace, because I would always remind them, I want to have a discussion of what we went through, not even just me. I understand that it was just unfortunate circumstances. I know that if you would have done something to prevent those, like whether it be coming from you, a mistake from your end, or from the people around us, or just the circumstances that that I had growing up, I know you would in a snap take all of that away. And I guess I would say that I'm speaking for myself, that as a child, as my parents' daughter, it's not coming from a place of blame. Like, I simply want to acknowledge that this is why I'm like this, and why I need to process it, why I need to work through it, and it comes with acknowledging it.
Yeah.
And acknowledging it is difficult when you're tiptoeing, because you're afraid that your parents will attach it to their identity. And I have to keep reminding them that I'm saying this not because I'm mad, because I blame you and the way you raised me, but just so it happened.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and I really just want to have you with me still in the process of healing that.
Wow.
And so when I saw that they were able to give themselves grace, when they were able to just step back and detach themselves from that, I was also able to give myself grace. And I think I came to a point that I was really hyper vigilant of people. You're always calculating it, like how can this person, like I meet somebody and like how can this person hurt me, like what can this person do that would affect me and what I have built so far. And that's honestly it's a very lonely way to live.
Yeah.
People are scary, like genuinely. When you have a mental health microphone. When you have mental health condition, other people are scary. Sane people are scary. Like a lot of my the joke with people with mental illnesses is we like to talk to each other because we're the only ones who get each other. Because you're always worried, like how are they?
Yeah. How will they perceive me?
How are they gonna perceive me? What are they gonna say? How are they going to react? And how is that going to send me down?
And it's not like you can give them like the entire context. Okay, so this is what happened when I was 5 years old.
That's
like
true
just
naman.
give you context is why.
I go on Facebook Live and I put it out there. I'm like, watch this. Instructional videos.
All right. Well, dogging empathic listening. Okay, that's a powerful one. How does that actually look? What does that look like? Di ba, for those who are watching, ano ibig sabihin ng dogging?
Yes, empathic listening is you empathize or you recognize and validate the person is really feeling that way rather than dismissing and just invalidating that feeling. So empathic is when you want to understand where the person is coming from. It's like you want to go to her world, no, and see what's going on here, why this person is behaving that way, rather than right away judge the person. Oh, you're acting that way, you're acting weird, or it's so bad as a Christian ka pa naman, mga ganon, no? So that will not help when people are sharing. So empathic is when you want to recognize and understand why the person feels the way he feels or why he behaves. Yes.
Yeah, go.
Is it okay if you share? Because you talked about empathic listening, and a lot of people don't know how to do that. Is it okay if a lot of people default to giving advice? Is it okay if you share like the kinds of questions, examples of the questions we can ask,
Or words to use.
Yeah. Because, for example, I take the class and they say, you never ask them why. Because why scares people. Say water.
Yeah.
That kind of guidelines.
Yeah.
What can we say to people?
Yeah.
We want to empathic listen.
So, first, when one is sharing, so you just be open and just accommodate the person and invite them to share their issues. So I'm just here. I mean, make a commitment. I'm just here. I want to listen. Do not assume that you understand right away the problem. No, do not. Ano yan, no? So marami na yan. So do not assume, because people respond differently. Even if the person experience the same experience, but the way they respond is different of different person, no? Because we have different personality, we have different tolerance level, so we respond differently. So when we empathize, we need to just understand, or maybe just, can you share me? Tell me more about this, no? So be open. So listening is very important.
So hold off advice.
Do not give
tell me more about it.
Yeah, tell me more about it.
Ano
So-
pa ba yung mga
So,
few
or
keywords?
how can I help you?
How can I
Oh,
help?
How can I help you? When she already start sharing, if there are something that you want to clarify, you can just ask like open-ended question, no? Open-ended question. But if you ask like question that starts with why, is really difficult, because it will bring the person to be defensive, no?
So
like
parang they have to explain themselves.
Yes, they have to explain. Like for example,
Why are you doing
an abused person. Why did you not run? Or why are you doing that? No? So why we leave the person to explain and become defensive?
Is there a better question rather than asking
Yes,
a why
there's a
question?
better
What would be
question.
what would be a good example of a
So it's
question?
like open-ended question. So what made you say that? So
What
how
made
do
you
you
say
feel about that? Yeah. So open-ended question, rather than why are you doing
Right.
that? So
Why are you so hard?
Yeah.
Are you so hard today?
Thank you, Donkey. Final words from you guys before we end. We'll start with you, Frankie, and then just a 60-second summary. I know it's been.
No, and you know what? No.
She's worried already.
I have a summary. I
Sure.
have one, because I don't want to be like the token Christian. I feel like I'm turning into like my worst nightmare, or just spiritualizing mental illness. But
Yeah, sure.
but
go
my
ahead.
summary really is the word. It's
Yeah.
very much.
That's beautiful.
It is that first. Okay, so every year I ask God for a word. And for the past few years, it's always been about peace and hope and healing. And the word He's given me is shalom. It means whole, complete. And it's used several times in the Bible. And the verse that He's given me is that part in Lamentations, which is a book entirely about screaming and crying and being like, everything is going wrong. And then it ends with, or in chapter 3 it goes, this I call to, Jeremiah goes, everything's going wrong, my body is faint, I can't do this anymore. And then he goes, but this I call to mind,
good.
and therefore
Yeah.
I have hope. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. It is new every morning.
That's
Great is
wonderful.
faithfulness.
Thank you.
That's it. That's my only answer.
That's good.
It sounds trite, it sounds cliche, but when you live through it, it's true.
Wow.
Whatever you do, you have a breakdown today, it's fine. Mercy's new every morning. You will not be consumed. You will get through this.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Frankie. Nicole?
My favorite verse is 2 Peter 3:9. I got that right. The Lord is not slow to fulfill His promise.
That's right.
And I had to learn that that promise, it manifests differently in every season. And I think it has really just been a process of God really just walking back with me through every season of my life, every horrible thing that I have gone through, and redeems it.
Yeah.
You know, He just brings me back to that. And my daughter, I'm touching all of these areas that have wounded you, and I am healing that. And in that promise, I have also seen the power of you just being vulnerable. That I had learned it's okay to be soft. You know, I've been so scared of crying in front of people and what they would say about that, but Lord, with you, I can be soft.
Yeah.
I can accept love without needing to perform, without needing to overcompensate,
Yeah.
because your promise is what will sustain me.
Thank you.
And
Galing. Thank you. Ian.
With all these issues, I guess what the enemy is trying to kill, steal, and destroy is hope.
Mm.
So there's hope. There's hope for everybody. There's hope. He's the same God, maybe on your mountaintops, and He's the same God on your valleys.
That's nice.
And wherever He'll be there. There's a different encounter that you can only experience
Wow.
as you go through that valley. And I would not trade that off. That kind of encounter, that kind of intimacy, that kind of just knowing God more and more in this season. If I would get that on the mountaintop and would not get the same experience, I would still choose this. I'm not saying like, okay, it's
not
good.
great.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great. I mean, it's not something to celebrate, but yeah, definitely.
Wow.
And there's hope at the end of that valley.
Amen. Thank you, Ian.
Okay. To summarize, 60
Any,
seconds.
or any just final words of encouragement?
Yeah, final words is relationship. Relationship is really important in our healing, and that we can really invite and empathize. And the most important thing is listen. So we are all broken people, and we deserve, each one of us deserve grace.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. We're grateful. I know, again, I wish we had 3, 4, 5 more hours to talk about this. You all were bubbling forth. I know.
Okay.
You're bubbling forth with insight and experience. Thank you. Well, I hope this was helpful for you. It's been incredibly helpful for me as well. And I know that there are those of you watching, parents, family members, loved ones, who are being the caregivers of somebody who are going through a tough time. Please don't hesitate to reach out to somebody, to your community, or maybe even to us. There's going to be you can contact us and it'll show up on the screen. So if you're going through a mental health challenge, you're going through a very tough time, reach out to somebody, reach out to a friend, to your church community, or even again, message us. Feel free to message us if there's anything we can do. I pray that as Frankie said, remember, okay, because of the Lord's faithfulness, we are not consumed. Because of His steadfast love, His mercies are new every single morning. And healing is a journey, and it will look like different with every person, but the God of hope is for us, never against us. God bless you. I hope to see you again in our next episode. Have a great day.
the unshakable King. The world is shaking, all around me falls. When this heart is breaking, there's one name I will call. I will always cry Jesus, the greatest name I know. 'Cause you're my strong foundation, the rock I'm standing on. Who you are is who you are. Who you are, you always will be. Seated in the highest place, the unshakable King. Nations rise and nations fall. You're unfailing through it all. Seated in the highest place, the unshakable King. Who you are is who you are. Who you are, you always will be. Seated in the highest place, the unshakable King. Who you are is who you are. Who you are, you always will be. Seated in the highest place, the unshakable King. Nations rise and nations fall. You're unfailing through it all. Seated in the highest place, the unshakable King. You're unshakable, the unshakable King. The unshakable King, unshakable King. You're seated in the highest place. Yeah, that's who you are. Who you are is who you are. You are, you always will be. Seated in the highest place, the unshakable King. Nations rise and nations fall. You're unfailing through it all. Seated in the highest place, the unshakable King.